state line. This is Ethelsville, Alabama. So Columbus is here. And again, this is really not too far from Columbus Air Force Base. Caledonia, Mississippi is here. Steens is right here. And again, that will be crossing over into Lamar County shortly. So the Weather Service decided, based on that TVS, that this is a confirmed tornado. And the best possible thing to do is to go ahead and put the tornado warning out. So that's the current reason that we are here. And again, we're going to stay live with you on the digital side here. Some of you are watching on YouTube, some watching on Facebook, some watching on the app, some on the website. We don't care how you watch. We're just glad you're here. And we know that many people in Lamar County like to watch us, but this is how they watch us, on the digital side, not on the TV side. And once this moves into Fayette County, we'll rejoin the television audience, but we're letting them watch Wheel of Fortune so the haters won't go crazy here tonight. So again, if you're just joining us here, I want to show a big picture, Taylor. Let's kind of reset everything here to show you where we are, because a lot of people are asking about different cities. So that's the big picture. It is quiet for much of central Alabama. We've got scattered showers. The rain, by the way, is pouring up here in northwest Alabama. We have flood advisories for parts of Lamar, Marion, Winston, Walker, and Fayette counties. There could be some flooding in here. Northern Cullman County, absolutely pouring. Heavy rain extends up into parts of Marshall County. So again, two concerns. Number one, it's the chance of some flooding in through here with the very heavy rain that's falling. And number two, the possibility of a tornado in the storm coming out of Lowndes County, Mississippi. And earlier, we had a pretty good hail shaft in here, a core, I should say, that was located over northeastern Fayette County. You see potential for some hail right in through here north of Berry and a little to the east of Hubbardsville. This is the hail tracker coming from the Barron radar system. And again, you can see potential for that hail coming just north of Fayette. And that might have exceeded 1 inch in diameter, which is the size of a quarter earlier tonight. But it looks like the intensities have come down a bit. So flooding really the main concern in through here. Again, just pouring north of Fayette, northern Fayette County, back into Walker County, just coming down heavily in downtown Jasper. Heavy rain falling around Smith Lake, heavy rain up in northern Cullman County. But again, the focus of this, it's going to be Lamar County. So we'll take a look at that. And Taylor, any reports of damage? We'll let you kind of take it for a second here. I've heard of nothing so far. How about you?
I haven't heard any reports of damage yet, but we are seeing a debris signature showing up in the correlation coefficient. Right. That is across the border in portions of Mississippi, located just to the north of Columbus as we were watching. You can see this little circle here. That is where we are seeing signs that there is lofted debris, which would be a radar-confirmed tornado. And within this last scan we're just getting in, it does look like that signature there is growing in size. So
by the way, Dennis Martin, can you be sure that we're on YouTube and Facebook? I do not see us. Thank you. I'm sorry, Taylor, go ahead.
Yeah. So this debris signature here, what I'm circling, that is a clear indication that we have lofted items up in the atmosphere. These are not raindrops or hail. This is objects of different sizes and shapes, which would mean that we likely have a confirmed tornado that is on the ground or has been on the ground, and this is headed in the general direction of Woodlawn. This is still right across the border from Lamar County. This has not moved into Lamar County yet, but if you're in Lamar County, go ahead and get to that safe place. You want to be there now. You are under a tornado warning, and at this point we do have a confirmed tornado across the county line from the southern part of Lamar County. So that's why it's really important that you go ahead, get to that safe place now while you still have some time, while we're still watching this system move towards Alabama. So the latest timing here, I'm going to pull up that track. This is moving at about 35 miles per hour. So that's going to put it into Lamar County here in the next few minutes. So you've got a little bit of a heads up here. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until you see the time next to your city on this. Get to that safe place now. But know that we are looking at the system moving towards Star at 6:58 p.m. That's when we are anticipating the worst of the weather to arrive for you. Bethlehem Church, 6:59. Poplar Springs Primitive Baptist Church, right around 7 p.m. So if you recognize one of these cities, if you're hearing those tornado sirens, or maybe your mobile device is going off, your NOAA weather radio is going off, now is that time to go ahead, get in that safe place. That's going to be the lowest level of your home, away from windows, away from the outside walls. If you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, your safest place is going to be in that tornado shelter or a business that is open. We are seeing that indication that this tornado is likely still on the ground as it passes through the Woodlawn community in Mississippi.
All right, so if you're just joining us here, it is 6:40. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. and ABC3340.com. Lamar County is not in our television market. They can't see us over here, so we're not going to cut off Wheel of Fortune for the folks that can't see us. Lamar County is in the Columbus, Tupelo, Mississippi television market, but once this gets close to Fayette County, we'll go back over on the television side. And again, we don't want to cut off TV programs to cut off TV programs. And that's not what we do here, but we want to reach as many people as we can. And the way to reach people here in Lamar County, it's on the digital side, which is where we are right now. Again, the city of Fayette is right here, and I don't know, Dennis, if Stephen Quinn has his live shot up. If he does, I would, or maybe if you guys can get in touch with him, I'd love to get that up, and so we can have a look at the sky and maybe talk with him as the storm approaches Fayette. Again, the crew we have here is in Fayette. We have a crew that's down live in Utah, down in Greene County as well, for storms that might form down to the south. But again, we're watching potential, and I say this is a confirmed tornado. Anytime you see that debris being lofted, we know that it's down. And again, the Weather Service, I'm quoting from the Weather Service text in Birmingham: a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado is located near Steens, or 7 miles east of Columbus Air Force Base, moving east at 35 miles per hour. And again, that tornado is basically in the process of crossing the state line right now. And again, to get your bearings straight, this is Vernon right here. This is one of the larger communities in Lamar County. This is Alabama Highway 17. That's that north-south highway that runs through central Lamar County. It runs from Millport up to Vernon and Sulligent. And this tornado will if it stays down, will most likely be crossing Alabama Highway 17 somewhere a little maybe south of Vernon. Downtown Vernon's not the polygon here. Millport is, and again, you can see evidence that that will be crossing Highway 17 a little south of Vernon. But again, if you're in the polygon, what do? Respect the polygon, no matter where you are in that flashing red box here. Now, Sulligent, you're not in the polygon. You don't need to do anything up there. So this is the reflectivity, and again, you can see a well-defined hook echo and a potential debris ball right here. That's a very well-organized storm. We got a really good low-level look at this. The Columbus Air Force Base radar is just up the road to the north. And again, there's the hook, there's the debris ball, and that'll be crossing the state line. So this is a large, according to the Weather Service, and I believe they're right here, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado crossing the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And again, so this is going to be coming up toward Highway 17 right here. And again, Vernon here, Millport down here. We don't want anybody driving. And one of our biggest challenges is always mobile homes. And we don't want anybody in a trailer, a mobile home, if you're in this polygon. And you need to go to the nearest shelter you've got, or any gas station, a fast food restaurant, some business that's open that offers shelter, a site-built structure. You can't stay in a mobile home as this tornado comes through where you live here in southern Lamar County. You can't be in a car, and that's the other thing. So again, you've got a little bit of time here, but not much. So we don't want anybody in a mobile home or a vehicle. And again, the major thoroughfare is this Highway 17, Alabama 17, Vernon down to Millport. Nobody should be traveling on that for about the next 40 minutes. You just need to stop. And again, if you're in Vernon, and if you're trying to go down to Millport or Reform, just don't do that right now. And that might be an inconvenience, but listen, everything we do in life, we make decisions, and we tolerate risk, and you just don't want to make a bad decision here with this. So stay off of Highway 17 between Vernon and Millport as this very dangerous storm is approaching from the west. And again, if this stays intact, it's going to wind up coming into Fayette County. So if you're watching us in Fayette County, just a heads up, you might be next in the warning process here. And let me just say, this is the only tornado warning in the whole state, which makes it easy. If you've watched us over the years, you know that sometimes we get into situations where we have multiple tornado warnings at the same time. We have to bounce back and forth between storms. We're not doing that right now because we have one storm in progress. Now, where you are, it might be pouring, raining, thunder and lightning and gusty winds, but there's no tornado in the state other than this one. This is it. And again, you can see it's a very well-defined hook and debris ball that is crossing the state line right now. And again, the debris signature is actually into Alabama, so it looks like the tornado has crossed over into our state. And again, that will be crossing Highway 17 pretty soon. And again, the city of Fayette is located right here. All right, this is Fayette, and most likely this will be passing north of Fayette, somewhere between Fayette and Winfield. The next major north-south thoroughfare here is U.S. Highway 43 between Fayette and Winfield. So just be aware that if you're in Fayette County, the greatest probability of this passing through is going to be north of Fayette. And again, Hubbardsville is right here, home of the Lions. So again, if you're in the northern part of Fayette County, just kind of a heads up, the community of Bluff is right here, Wayside is right here. And again, the minute that the Weather Service issues a warning, if they do for Fayette County, we're going to join the television side. But again, we're going to stay on the digital side until that happens. All right, so yeah, let's take the live shot from Fayette if we can. This is coming from Stephen Quinn and his crew. And again, most likely this tornadic circulation, if it stays intact, will be passing north of Fayette, over the northern part of Fayette County, somewhere between Fayette and Winfield. But again, that's a look at the current scene in Fayette. Again, it's quiet. The heaviest rain has been north of Fayette. We had a hail core that passed north of Fayette within the hour. But again, we got a pretty large debris signature here, so the rotation is clearly in Alabama at this time. So let's go back to the radar. And again, we are off television for now because this is not our television market. This is the Columbus Tupelo market, Lamar County. But as this approaches Fayette County, we'll join our folks on the television side. So let's look at our debris signature here, Taylor. And again, this has been somewhat cyclic. You can see it's right there near Asbury Church, in that the rotation weakened a little bit as it was passing north of Columbus and north of Starkville, but then it tightened up again around Columbus Air Force Base, north of the city of Columbus. And again, this is debris being lofted. And again, this is a fairly sparsely populated part of Lamar County. But again, on the current track, the tornado is going to be crossing Highway 17, maybe about 5 to 7 miles south of downtown Vernon, right here. Again, so understand, we want everybody that's in Lamar County, south of Vernon South, to stay sheltered. Now, we'll give you an all clear as the tornado passes on to the east of you, but we don't want any loss of life with this thing tonight. That's the goal. This is what we do here. That's the object of the game. We can't stop the damage from happening, but we can fix that. We just have to be sure that everybody's okay. Another thing to think about, if you're in this polygon, be sure you got a helmet on. Let's say you're in a site-built home and you're going to your small room, a closet, a hall, a bathroom on the lowest floor. Everybody needs to wear a helmet. That includes children, and that includes adults, and that includes old people. If you have an infant, put them in a car carrier. That will greatly mitigate your chance of being seriously injured if you take a hit from a tornado. An inexpensive bicycle helmet. If you're kids play sports, a batting helmet, softball or baseball, a football helmet, a motorcycle helmet, something to protect your head. So many of the severe injuries in tornadoes come from blunt force trauma above the shoulders, the head, skull, and neck regions. So you want to be wearing that helmet. And we also like for people to have on hard-sole shoes in your tornado safe place if you do take a hit and if you have to walk. And if you walk over a tornado debris field, that's rough. Your feet could be shredded. So hard-soled shoes and a little portable air horn. If by chance you're injured and you can't vocalize your need for help, you can hit that air horn and the first responders can hear that. So again, if you're just joining us here on the digital side, we're live on YouTube and Facebook on the ABC 3340 side and also on the website and the app. We're not on television now because this is a county that's not in our television market. This is in the Columbus Tupelo market, but obviously Fayette County is in our market. So pretty soon, if this stays intact, we're going to hop over on the television side. But there's a confirmed tornado down. That is a TDS, a tornado debris signature. That's going to be passing a little to the south of Vernon and Lamar County, crossing the Fayette County line. And most likely, if this continues, and again, the best possible case here, this thing just dissipates, but there's no evidence of that. In fact, that's a large debris signature on radar at this point. And the one thing that's encouraging is the fact that this will be moving into a more stable rain-cooled air mass over here. And Taylor, there's a chance it might go away. What do you think?
We are just going to have to wait and see on this one. But as you mentioned, yes, it's been raining out ahead of this system. It's moving into locations that have already seen that rain. That helps to kind of bring down that instability. So right now, we're just going to carefully watch this system as it keeps moving eastward. For the time being, as we look at the velocity here, It's not quite as organized as it was, say, just a few minutes ago, but we are still seeing indications that there is lofted debris. So, of course, we're treating this like a tornado on the ground. It is radar confirmed at this point. But in terms of the couplet, the velocity signature with this, it's not quite as well defined as it has been throughout times in this storm's life cycle. That doesn't mean that it can't strengthen again, but we're going to have to really closely watch as this keeps moving eastward how it is going to interact with the air that has already been kind of worked over by those storms. James was talking about the storm that moved through just north of Fayette that dropped quite a bit of hail. We've seen that heavy rain. There is a flood advisory that covers portions of Fayette County just north of Fayette. So we'll have to keep a close eye on this storm. But at this point, actually, we are getting new information that we're going to have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Walker. So that would be for a separate situation than this storm here. But we're going to watch and see. The National Weather Service is keeping a close eye on this. They're, of course, going to take the best course of action in terms of whether or not to extend this tornado warning. But when it comes to the radar presentation of this storm, it's starting to show signs of at least weakening in the short term. We are waiting to see that severe thunderstorm that severe thunderstorm warning for Walker County. Likely it has to do with this hail core that we're seeing that is approaching Jasper, where we have these bright pinks here. And you even see it kind of turn to gray. That is indicating the possibility of some large hail, and this is moving eastward. So heads up if you're in Jasper, the hail is about to pick up for you pretty soon. So make sure you're getting indoors. Make sure you are staying away from those windows. We still haven't seen that severe thunderstorm warning pop up in our system yet, but of course, as soon as it does, we will give you the latest details on that. Parts of Walker County, northwestern Walker County, already included in a severe thunderstorm warning. Locations like Carbon Hill right along I-22. But that pink showing up there, that is a pretty good telltale sign that we do have some hail. And I'll actually show you that here. And it's showing that, yes, likely we do have some hail that's approaching Jasper, and we could have some strong winds as well. So we're now just seeing that severe thunderstorm warning come through. That's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind and hail up to 1 inch. And that does include the city of Jasper. So heads up, severe thunderstorm warning for you. But we do have one tornado warning, and that does include parts of Lamar County, really the southern half of Lamar County, just south of Vernon, the city of Vernon itself, downtown Vernon, not included in that warning polygon. But from just south of Vernon through High to G down towards the southern part of the county, including Millport, we do have this tornado warning. We are watching carefully these radar trends, and I'm going to check for the debris signature here. And you can see it's getting a little bit more noisy. Still possibility that we have a little bit of lofted debris, but at this point, it's not as clear of an indication as what we had, say, a couple radar scans ago, where you saw that really bright circle showing up. This looks to me to be a weakening trend in this storm itself. But remember, sometimes these can cycle. So we'll have to see how this interacts with that more stable air mass that it's moving into over parts of Fayette County, where we've already been seeing that rain ongoing. But for the time being, we do not have this tornado warning extended into Fayette County. That's what we're watching for, though. We just want to give you that heads up that this storm is not too far from you. And if we do start to see this rotation tighten back up again, a warning could be necessary for Fayette County. Understand you're already under a severe thunderstorm warning for wind, hail, but in terms of a tornado warning, that could be possible just as we wait to see how the system is going to continue evolving.
Let me kind of make a few housekeeping notes here for Dennis. In a minute, we're going to take Quinn. Stephen Quinn is live in Fayette. We're going to take him in just a second. And what we're going to do at the top of the hour, Dennis, right at 7 o'clock, when they normally hit the 7 o'clock program, just join us. We're going to join the television side at 7 for a brief time. If there's no tornado warning for Fayette County, we're not going to cover primetime programming. We'll do a quick update over there and then stay here on the live stream. So again, if you're watching us and want to stay with us, if you're watching right now, just stay where you are. And again, we're going to kind of come and go on the television side as we do our best not to interfere with what they're trying to watch. And again, it's Wheel of Fortune, and You don't want to get the email from those guys. Anyway, in just a second, we're going to go to Stephen Quinn here at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. We'll join the television side. But again, as Taylor has talked about, the rotation is very broad at this point and has weakened tremendously, and it sure looks like the storm has lost its structure. And again, that broad rotation is crossing Highway 17 right now, and that'll be crossing the line over here into Fayette County. But this is a rain-cooled air mass. It's been raining a lot here over northern Fayette County, so that's going to hit this stable rain-cooled air. And there's a decent chance we're not going to have a warning at this point, a tornado warning at least. In fact, the Weather Service is trending toward canceling this tornado warning. And a severe thunderstorm warning is going to stay in effect until 7:15, and that severe thunderstorm warning does include over here into Fayette County as well. So, again, this thing is fizzling in terms of the tornado potential at the moment. Okay, and again, that's certainly great news for our friends here in Fayette County. And again, we've got this storm that's approaching Jasper with potential for large hail. And let's check that Jasper Skycam, Taylor, to be sure. It was down the last time I looked at it. And let's see if we can reestablish a link to the Jasper Skycam that's on top of the King Building in downtown Jasper, and I don't think we have that, which is unfortunate because that's going to be quite a show to watch. And we really like the unmanned cameras because it's not dangerous. But again, just be aware that if you're in downtown Jasper here, large hail will likely start to fall fairly soon. I say large, probably maybe up to 1 inch in diameter. That's the size of a quarter. And that's the reason we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Walker County. So X marks the spot. That's always good news when Taylor draws the X. You know why? The warning is gone. The tornado warning has been canceled, and it is over at this point. So the tornado warning has been canceled for Lamar County, which is great news. And I tell you what I want to do, Stephen Quinn, I know you're standing by. I'm going to hit the TV side here okay, we lost Stephen, but the plan is we're going to hit the television side at 7, talk to them for a few minutes, then come back, back over here, and then we'll go to Stephen, so we'll have time to do that. We won't feel rushed. But again, the good news, the Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Lamar County. So we have no active tornado warnings anywhere in the state. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for Lamar and Fayette for that storm that did prompt the tornado warning. And again, a hail core is coming up on downtown Jasper. So just be aware that if you're in Jasper, you might see some hail falling here pretty soon. And maybe up to 1 inch in diameter, and that's the trigger for these warnings. The hail needs to be that size or larger for a storm to be considered severe, or winds of 58 miles per hour or greater. And I've not seen any really high winds with these storms over the past couple of hours in northwest Alabama. The main concern has been hail and very heavy amounts of rain. And we should also notice we have flood advisories in effect for basically this whole zone in through here where the heavy rain continues to fall. Thankfully, the rain has stopped up in Marion County. If you're in Hamilton or Brilliant, even Haleyville, the bulk of the rain is over for now. You might see some more rain later tonight. So again, we have no tornado warnings in effect. In fact, let's look at the big picture, Taylor, now that we've got, when the tornado warnings go away, the pressure's off, which is good. So here's your big picture. Heavy showers between Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Again, nothing severe. We have a batch of rain and storms from Lamar County through Fayette County, Walker, parts of Blount, Cullman counties back up to Marshall County around Lake Gunnersville. And this band has been very persistent, sagging to the south. And within this band, we could see some instances of large hail and gusty winds, but there's no evidence of any tornado activity at this point. And again, this is just rain-cooled air in through here. So this is outflow-dominated, rain-cooled, stable air. And this storm that was producing the tornado in Lamar County is hitting that stable air, and it basically just fizzled, which is a good thing. But again, down in through here, the air is not really contaminated by all this rain from, say, Tuscaloosa, Gordo, Reform south, and the air is unstable. The dew points rising up into the 60s, approaching 70. And again, we'll be watching the area south of Tuscaloosa for tornado potential for the next several hours. This is a fairly long duration event. We're going to be here through a pretty good chunk of the night. And
worth noting, James, they did extend the tornado watch back to our west for parts of Louisiana and Mississippi through 2 a.m.
Okay.
So they do believe that there could be an ongoing threat. through 2 a.m.
Right. Yeah. This is just going to be one where we're just going to have to sit here and watch this all night. Sometimes in the weather office, well, I don't sleep anyway, but you just don't sleep. So we're going to be here watching this through the night tonight. And again, in about 14 seconds, we're going to join ABC 3340 for an update for our friends on the TV side. And again, we're not going wall to wall on television. So hang on. We'll be right back. It's 7 o'clock. I'm James Spann with Taylor Sorello back in the Weather Center. We are coming back with an update. Earlier, if you watched us at 6:30 on the television side, you saw the tornado warning in effect for Lamar County. That has been canceled. There are no tornado warnings anywhere in Alabama. We've been live on the digital side on ABC3340.com, on the 3340 YouTube and Facebook pages continuously through this. But if you're on the television side, I just wanted to give you an update here where we stand right now. We've got a band of heavy storms now through parts of Lamar, Fayette, Walker, extreme northern Jefferson, western Blount, eastern Cullman, back up toward Lake Gunnersville. Within this band, we might have some hail falling around Jasper, a hail core showing up near Jasper. There is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for Walker County for the possibility of hail here. Other than that, the big concern, it's flooding. I mean, it is just absolutely pouring rain in through here. But let's look at our storm in Lamar County, the one that prompted the tornado warning. What happened? The circulation just went away about 10 to 15 minutes ago, and this storm has hit a rain-cooled, stable air mass, and storms need buoyancy, instability, and it's just not there. So the storm is crossing Highway 17 right now, and this is the part of the storm that had the tornado. But again, the debris signature is gone, the rotation signature is gone. It's just basically a lot of heavy rain with thunder and lightning at this point. But out of respect to what happened earlier, the Weather Service continues a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for the southern part of Lamar County for that storm. That'll be crossing into Fayette County. But again, we stress there is absolutely zero evidence of a tornado in that storm at this point. In fact, we have no tornado warnings anywhere in Alabama at this point. But again, we have a very highly shared environment tonight. We have a very dynamic weather system. The question is the instability, as we typically see in the cool season, but we still certainly could see a few tornadic storms, especially on the western side of the state tonight. Let's pop the tornado watch on real quick. I wanted to show you who's in the tornado watch, and you can see this includes Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Bibb, Green, Hale, Sumter, Perry, and then counties down to the south all the way down toward Mobile. The green counties here, including Birmingham, that is a flash flood watch that is currently in effect for much of North Alabama for all this heavy rain that's falling. And again, we have a few tornado warning polygons in parts of Mississippi, including one for parts of Lauderdale County, Mississippi. That includes Meridian. And obviously, these storms will at some point cross the state line. And while it's rain-cooled and stable here, it's pretty unstable through this part of the state. And I think this is what we'll have to really watch, and we'll focus on tornado potential here for the next several hours. That broad zone from Tuscaloosa down toward Demopolis and Grove Hill. And again, these are the dew points, and they're pretty low in East Alabama in the 50s. You want to see these things well up in the 60s. The dew point is up to 66 at Demopolis, 67 for Utah, 65 for Tuscaloosa. So again, from Tuscaloosa south, that's really the most unstable air. So we're going to get you back to programming. We're going to stay live on the live stream. Find the ABC 3340 YouTube channel, or find us on Facebook or ABC3340.com. We'll be over there for a while. So for those of you on the television side, back to regular programming. We'll see you again by 8 o'clock sooner if need be. It is now 7:03. And again, the good news, we do not have any tornado warnings. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer. And listen, is Quinn available, Dennis, up in Fayette? Okay. As soon as you get him, just let us know. And I want to go to him and talk with him, and that he is in the path of that storm that's coming out of Lamar County, which fizzled in terms of the tornado threat. And again, watching a lot of things here. The new day one has come out. Taylor, let's pop the convective outlook up on this map if we can. The SPC has updated their severe weather outlook for tonight, and I think it's going to look similar to the last update. The last update was at 2 o'clock. So
it might be still processing into our system.
Okay, yeah, it just came out like a minute ago, so that might be the case. I know that they have really reduced the moderate risk size and the enhanced risk size to include a smaller part of West Alabama. This is the update earlier today. This was what they did at 2 o'clock today. So in a minute or so, you're going to see this change. And most of the state is going to be in a level 2 out of 5 risk, which is the standard risk. Understand, I don't want to make that a trivial point here. That means you've got a chance of severe storms. But those really higher levels, the moderate, the enhanced, they're really smaller on this new update. And they're basically including just a small part of west central Alabama, with much of the state in a slight risk. So again, that'll update. We'll come back to it in a minute. We'll go back to the radar. But again, this is where we stand right now. And you can see it's a messy convective situation up here in North Alabama. I call them junk storms. They're not severe. They're annoying. It's pouring rain. Look at all the lightning strikes here. That's 100. What's that, Taylor? What's the time on that? Is that 10 minutes?
I think it's 10
I think it's 10-2, but whatever. That's 102 lightning strikes in about the last 10 minutes in what you're seeing on your screen here. That's a lot. I mean, the lightning output is tremendous, and you can see the lightning from a pretty good distance away. And again, you can see that really heavy rain has slipped into northern Jefferson County, north of Birmingham. Heavy rain in parts of Blount, Cullman. It's pouring in parts of Walker County. The hail core has really dropped off a little bit. That might be dropping some smaller hail a little east of Jasper now. And just a lot of rain, just a messy convective look here through parts of Fayette and Lamar counties. And again, we stress that's the storm that prompted the reason the Weather Service put up a tornado warning, and that's what got us all on the air here. But that has fizzled as it's hit this rain-cool, stable air mass. And I'd say if you're north of Birmingham, the odds of a tornado, understand, they're there. It's a possibility tonight. But it's not especially high with all of this rain. This is outflow dominant, rain-cool, stable air. The better chance of a tornado, I think, for the rest of tonight will be south of Interstate 20, west of Interstate 65. Interstate 20 is right here, 65 is here. This right here, this zone is what I'm talking about, is what we'll have to watch for tornado potential for the next several hours, in that the dew points are up, there is surface-based instability there. And with a pretty dynamic system here in the cool season, it doesn't take a lot of instability for sometimes storms to get going. But I would say overall, Taylor, this thing is kind of underperformed, but the party ain't over yet, right?
That's right. So we were kind of talking about this a few minutes ago. The Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and Weather Prediction Center has gone ahead and extended that tornado watch to our west until 2 a.m. So that means that they still believe there's a threat for ongoing severe weather to our west. And remember, we're downstream from that. So what forms back here is eventually going to be headed in our direction. So we could see our tornado watch extended as well further into the evening and overnight hours. But for now, we've been watching these storms that have kind of been moving over some of the same tracks to our west, developing in parts of Louisiana, moving across Mississippi. So far, we had that one tornado warning that did include the southern half of Lamar County, but no tornado warnings in parts of Alabama at this point. We do have those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. But other than that, so far, haven't seen much in the way of tornado potential, but we're watching those storms carefully across the border. You'll see a couple flashing red boxes, one of those moving close to Meridian now. So that's going to be one of those thunderstorms we're watching as it does approach the border. We are looking at another storm just to the north of Louisville. That's actually headed in the general direction of Columbus if that storm can maintain its strength. But like we saw with that Lamar County storm, it started to weaken as soon as it hit some of that more stable air where we've got the rain. And it is a good sign. We do like to see some of these showers that are moving through parts of Tuscaloosa County, through Bibb County, through Jefferson County, because these can kind of help to limit that instability. These can help to stabilize the air for any kind of future storms that do start to move across central Alabama. So it's good to see this around. We like to see that. That's going to help to kind of rob those other storms of some of that energy that they would need to maintain their strength. So far, really the biggest concern has been the amount of rainfall that we've seen. We do have flood advisories covering much of the northern third of Alabama at this point. We've got Marion, Winston, Lamar, Fayette, Walker, northern Jefferson, southeastern and southwestern parts of Blount County that are included in these flood advisories. And rain is still ongoing at this point. We could still get some additional rain if we see more storms develop off to our west. I'll take a quick look at the rainfall accumulation. This is going to be over the last couple of hours. You see a pretty good swath here of rainfall totals. Now, these are radar estimated, but let's query some of these. And you can see that's exactly where, when we have these yellows and these oranges, that's exactly where those flood advisories have been issued. We've seen up to 3 inches, maybe 3+ inches of rain in some locations already. So just make sure if you don't have to be out driving tonight, you shouldn't be anyway, just because we are talking about a severe threat. But especially if you don't have to be out tonight, don't, because we could see some localized flooding problems. If you do happen to be out, if you can't avoid going out tonight, if you do come upon a road that's covered in water, please don't drive over it. I know it's an inconvenience. It takes a little extra time to turn around and go find a different route, but it's just too dangerous to drive through that water. You don't know what that road looks like underneath the water, and especially at night, it can be a big problem. And when you do that, when you drive through that water and your car gets stuck, not only are you putting yourself at risk, you're putting everybody else in your car at risk, and then those first responders that have to come help retrieve you and your car. So just don't do it. Don't drive through that water if you do happen to drive up to a flooded road. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. We do still have those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that include parts of Lamar County. That's a very small warning at this point. And then we have another severe thunderstorm warning that includes parts of Walker County. Let me check on the chat here and see if we've got any updates. And we have the severe thunderstorm warning for Walker County that's going to last through 7:30 p.m. So that's going to last here for just under about 20 minutes. And then the severe thunderstorm warning for Lamar County lasts through 7:15. We'll take another look at that storm. Really has weakened significantly since first crossing over the border. And when it did first cross over from Mississippi into Alabama, there were indications that this could potentially have had a tornado on the ground at that point, but a very, very different radar presentation at this point. And with this storm, we're very close to the radar site. We're very close to the Columbus radar there. So we're getting a really good picture of this storm. Sometimes if we have these storms that develop and they're pretty far away from the radar, it's hard for us to get a really clear picture of what's going on at the surface. That's not the case in this situation. We are getting a really good clear picture of this storm, and still it looks like the trends are positive. This storm does look to be obviously not producing a tornado at this point, but it's likely weakening even below severe limits at this point. I'd be surprised if the National Weather Service does decide to extend that severe thunderstorm warning. We'll keep an eye on it, but so far they have not chosen to do that.
Let's go to Stephen Quinn, if we can. Stephen, you're up in Fayette. You obviously everybody was a little nervous up there with that thunderstorm that produced a possible tornado in Lamar County, but thankfully it fizzled. Tell us about what's going on in Fayette County right now.
Well, certainly, James, we've been watching that with certainly a certain level of interest, given the path that it was headed. The radar that Taylor just mentioned, the weakening remnants of what that was, is about a little less than 8 miles to our west. You're looking a little southwest from our view right now, where we are set up to watch these storms as they pass through. The most impressive thing, James, that I can see, and I tweeted it out earlier, was the extensive amount of lightning that we've seen with the storms that have moved through where we are right now. And the other thing that we have seen, perhaps to our benefit in this situation and listening to you all, is the amount of rain. We've had about 3 different periods now over the last hour and a half where I would consider what we saw as downpours, heavy rain coming through the area. No significant flash flooding, at least here in downtown Fayette, not to say anything about the county itself and some other areas. I will say during that first storm, we saw a heavy radar signature, possible radar, as you indicated, of hail just north of where we were between Fayette and Winston. So we've had a lot of precipitation in this area, and from what you guys are saying, it sounds like that is perhaps helping us with what is coming just about 10 miles to our west. That certainly looked really nasty when it was in Mississippi. As you see from our shot as well, James, there are people driving around, not a significant amount. And as I said in our report at 6 o'clock, certainly the people here are aware of the potential for severe weather. They were asking us about it. They knew why we were here. So it's certainly on the mind of most of the people in the community, James.
All right, Stephen, thank you, and thanks for being out in this. We'll check back with him later. I want to go to WEX 05. We can do real quickly, Dennis. I wanted to show some of the damage from Columbus, Mississippi. This is the steeple from Mount Zion Presbyterian Church at the intersection of Nielsen Road and Wolf Road, which is just northeast of Columbus. And again, that was a pretty potent storm, and that's the one that moved into Lamar County, prompting the tornado warning. And we're getting a lot of images of this big fire, a lot of questions about that. This is what it looks like in Moody. This is from the corner of Annie Lee and Blackjack Road in Moody. And again, this is a very significant fire, obviously. It's been burning for a few days. I think it involves a landfill, a wildfire. I've been so busy with the weather, I've just not had time to focus on that. But this, okay, Dennis is saying it is a landfill. And this is visible from a lot of locations in the eastern part of Birmingham. In fact, that's what it looks like from a distance. And hopefully, once the heavy rain gets in, that's going to help the firefighters there put that thing out. But obviously, a very large fire at that landfill that continues to burn out in Moody tonight. And I understand there have been some evacuations. I did hear that with one of our reporters earlier. I think Aaron Wise was on that story. So anyway, let's go back to the weather. And again, if you're just joining us here, we're on YouTube and Facebook. I guess we're a YouTuber. Taylor, are we YouTubers now? Hey, man, we're YouTubers. Yeah, yeah. They gave us a like back in the back. Now I think you have to subscribe on the YouTube, and you like the face bag. So that's the deal here. But and, you know, we joke about social media. There's good and bad about everything in life. But social media does give us a chance to reach people like you that are watching. Thousands and thousands are watching across both those platforms all over the country, all over the world. Weather dweebs that just like to watch weather coverage. And we're glad you're here, and it gives us a chance to reach people we would normally not reach. And also it gives us this chance to get images in, like I just showed you, of the big fire and the damage in Columbus. And again, for everybody that takes the time to send in those images, I'm so thankful for that. So, but we're going to stay with you for a little bit here. And again, we're just going to watch the trends. And the next storm to watch, Taylor, let's go back to Mississippi. Let's see what's going on down here real quick. Yeah, that deal below Starkville has ramped up. You can see right there. And this is Lowndes County, Mississippi right here. Columbus is here. Starkville is here. So we have potential for a tornado that will be moving up into Lowndes County. Again, this is Oktibbeha County. This is Lowndes County. US 82 is here. And again, this is 45 west, 45 east. And that's moving up in the direction of Columbus. And so we're going to stay with this, and we're going to watch this. And of course, you know, if this thing holds together, it could impact Lamar County. But the thing about Lamar County, now we've got that big rain-cooled air mass, and there's a pretty decent chance. In fact, this might dissipate. But really and truly, the heaviest rain has stayed north of Columbus, and there's a gradient here where north of that gradient line, the air is rain-cooled and stable. South of that, the air is unstable, and these things can hang in there. And so that's a pretty nasty looking signature. And let's pop the debris signature, the correlation coefficient product. Not seeing any debris being lofted yet, which is good, but that might change, and we'll just see. So again, just wanted everybody to know that we've got another pretty good indication of a tornado. Not confirmed. We don't have the TDS, but that is across the state line over in eastern Mississippi. And
we got some broad rotation with that Fayette storm just north of Fayette.
Yeah, it's just spinning slowly right here. Again, this is the storm that came through Lamar County, and again, that's going to be passing north of Fayette. But let me tell you what, if the dew point was up around 70 up here and the Cape was over 1,000 joules, that could be a pretty nasty storm. But thankfully, we don't have those conditions. So again, we've got broad rotation north of Fayette. And we will keep an eye on that. But again, the tornado warning over in eastern Mississippi, it is for parts of Lowndes, Noxubee, and Oktibbeha counties. Noxubee County is this one right here, Lowndes and Oktibbeha. And again, you can see that'll be coming up in the general direction of Columbus. And a lot of folks do watch us over there. Of course, they've got their own TV stations. They do a fine job. Channels 4 and 9 over here. But again, once that thing crosses the state line, it becomes into my territory, and we start taking care of our people here. This is Pickens County, and this is Lamar. So I just wanted to show you that we've got a pretty decent velocity couplet that's south of Starkville. And let me just say this for MSU parents, the campus of Mississippi State is not in the polygon here. We had one rotating storm that passed north of Starkville. This one is going to pass south of Starkville. So far, so good for Mississippi State and our friends in Stark Vegas tonight. But again, this is coming more up toward Artesia and Columbus. So just if you know anybody in Columbus, you might give them a call and say, hey, be sure you're watching the local television, and because they need to be sheltered if they're in that particular polygon right there. And I still see a lot of warnings coming out of Jackson, going back over toward Vicksburg and across the line into northeast Louisiana and some of the parishes there. So again, it's going to be a while here before we can declare this thing a bust or to be over. It's not. We're going to be here for probably quite a while. So again, let's put the reflectivity back on and take a look at what's happening here. Let's go over to the storm that's in Walker County. Again, we've got one warning in the state now. That is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for eastern Walker. And when does that expire?
7:30.
Okay, 9 minutes. So again, and again, the reason they issued the warning was for the possibility of hail here. And again, there's evidence there could be some hail falling east of Jasper, Sipsey, Empire, down toward Doris Summerton. And again, probably some smaller hail here. And I don't think another warning is going to be needed for Jefferson or for Blount or Southern Cullman. And again, it's just messy. This is a messy convective pattern here. There's nothing really classic severe. It's annoying. It's pouring rain, thunder, lightning. The winds are gusty. Some small hail falling, and there might be some small hail in here through parts of Blount and northern Jefferson, but again, no really strong sign of the classic severe signatures you'd like to see. So just a lot of junky convection going on north of Birmingham. And again, the green polygons here, these are flood advisories, not a flash flood warning, but a flood advisory in effect for parts of Winston, Walker, Fayette, Marion, and Lamar counties, because probably some people have seen over 2 inches of rain in through here tonight. So again, we're going to stay with this for a little longer. We're going to watch the storm that is in eastern Mississippi. And again, I'm watching John DeBlock type on the Weather Service chat. It says, Pickens, we see that warning against you. It's, so again, let's go back over to the eastern Mississippi storm. And again, you can see that's the concern here, is that area of rotation that is coming up through extreme northern Noxubee, extreme southern Oktibbeha, and Lowndes counties. And again, that'll be crossing the two US 45s right here, passing maybe a little south of Golden Triangle Airport, which is right here, and then maybe kind of close to Columbus, and we'll see if that thing will hang in there. Let's leave this view up. Let's look at the reflectivity and just want to see where the rain is falling. And I think we don't have a lot of rain that's contaminated. Well, we do. There is rain falling here. It's not especially heavy. And we'll see if this thing can survive. It doesn't have the classic reflectivity look, the classic pendant hook, inflow notch, all that with it. But it really doesn't matter at this point. In fact, there might be a little bounded weak echo region in through there. We're not seeing debris being lofted at this point, which is good. But again, we're just going to keep an eye on this as it comes up through parts of Lowndes County. And again, you've got Lamar County, Alabama here, Pickens County, Alabama here. That's the Alabama-Mississippi state line. Let's pop up our Reform camera, see if we can see some lightning here. You know, the one thing that it's aggravating with these night events, nobody wants to see some guy like me, you know, yakking away. You want to see the weather. People react when they see the weather, and not just some knucklehead talking, you know, for hours. And this is why we built a Skycam network years ago. This is why we have spotters in the field. This is why we have all the units out in the field for the live images. But man, it's hard at night. goodness, on a night like tonight, just rain-wrapped. If there's a tornado, it's going to be rain-wrapped. You have to wait for a lightning strike to illuminate an interesting feature. We just can't do that. This is Reform Elementary School. This is in Pickens County, again, not too far from the Mississippi state line, about 25 miles into Alabama. And again, you can see some lightning back in the distance, but on a night like tonight, it's just really hard to show a lot. And again, we can have a gazillion sky cams and a gazillion people out in the field, but I tell you what really is so helpful is when people send us video and images, and I get a gazillion pictures. And understand, I can't show them all, but I see them all in real time during severe weather coverage, and it's my window to the world. So for all of you that take the time to do that, thank you. So let's go back to the radar. And of course, also we've got our Sky Watchers. We're watching our Sky Watcher chat. We're on Slack over there with our people, and these are trained spotters that are volunteers for us. They report weather daily, high, low rain, but on nights like tonight, they become very critical because their reports are just excellent because they've all been trained in storm spotting. And again, a lot of people want to help, but they really can't because they've not been trained in storm spotting. Instead of telling us, I've got a rotating wall cloud with striations, they'll say there's a mean-looking cloud coming. And that doesn't, I expect a cloud with a frowny face or something. So anyway, so Taylor, your thoughts. Will that storm in eastern Mississippi hold up into Alabama?
It is a wait and see kind of situation. I mean, we did see that storm that moved into Lamar County hold up for a little bit. So we're going to have to wait and see how it interacts with the rain-cooled air. But for now, I mean, that's been a pretty consistent little couplet going on just to our west. It's moving in the general direction of Columbus. And like we were talking about with that other storm we were tracking, we're getting a really good picture of what's happening down at the surface from this storm just because we're so close to the radar site. So we're getting a really, really good look into this storm here. And it does still appear to have pretty good indication of rotation. I've been monitoring for any kind of signal for debris signature, and we still haven't seen that show up, but we still got to watch all these storms very carefully. These storms have had histories of producing tornadoes back in Mississippi, so we're watching that carefully. For now, we're pretty quiet across central Alabama, but we're just getting started on this. We do have quite a few storms that are warned, still well off to our west, moving from Louisiana into Mississippi. We've got a pretty strong storm that's tornado warned just to the south of Meridian, so that would be moving across the border here not too long from now. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to take us down to that storm as well and see if we can get a better picture. I'm going to change radar sites here. Kind of hard to tell. We're kind of far away from the radar sites at that point. But that's another warning polygon that we have to keep an eye on because that would eventually be crossing over into Choctaw and Sumter counties if that storm holds together. So at this point, no tornado warnings across central Alabama, but we have some that are fairly close to the border. So we'll be watching those. And it looks like we're getting word from the National Weather Service. They've still been keeping a close eye on that Fayette storm. It was trying to rotate a little bit, but at this point, you could see the difference in the radar signatures between that Fayette storm and that storm that's in Mississippi just to the southwest of Columbus. Notice the storm in Fayette. We've got some bright colors, likely some strong wind, but we're not seeing the reds meet up with the greens. But as you look towards that storm just southwest of Columbus, you see a very distinct signature where we do have those red and those greens combined together, touching each other very close to one another. That shows that we have a change in wind direction very close to, or we have winds moving in one direction and winds moving in another direction really close together. So that signifies that change in direction where we could have that rotation ongoing. So at this time, that's going to be the main storm that we are focused on, is watching that storm slowly move towards the general direction of Columbus. And that would eventually move into, if it holds together, parts of really the extreme northwestern corner of Pickens County and then into southern Lamar County. So we'll be watching this storm carefully. For now, still not seeing any kind of correlation coefficient drop, so no kind of signature of lofted debris. But that doesn't mean that this couldn't strengthen here in the next few minutes. So let's take a big picture of what we've got going on. If you're just joining us, we're not on TV because we don't have any tornado warnings across our part of the state, or really across the entire state in general. We do still have that one severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be coming off the map here in about 45 seconds. It comes to an end at 7:30, and then we'll be done with any kind of severe warnings for central Alabama. We do, however, still have flood advisories. That's all of those green boxes you're seeing, and that's because we've seen quite a bit of rain with this. So far, this has mainly been a rain producer for locations north of Birmingham. We've seen this training of these storms, which means we're getting multiple storms moving over the same location, keeping those rainfall rates very high, and we've seen up to 3+ inches of rain in some locations. But worth noting, a lot of shower activity across the Birmingham metro right now. You could have some rumbles of thunder as well. You don't have any kind of severe warning, but sometimes it's good to see. That usually is telling me that's my bedtime alarm. So usually this is when I'm going to bed.
What? When you work the morning shift, you go to bed at 7:30.
Oh, yeah. So
Wow.
that's my bedtime alarm. Not going to bed tonight, though. We're going to be up all night. We're going to be tracking this system. We're just getting started with this system. But we are looking at those showers around, which can help to limit instability. We're getting that rain-cooled air, so this might actually work to our benefit since we have quite a bit of rain activity ongoing across central Alabama at this point. I do also just want to kind of take a look to our south. What do we have going down here in Mobile Television Market area? Because sometimes we don't have much. So sometimes what can happen is we get a lot of showers and storms that form to our south that kind of cuts us off from that instability. And we aren't seeing that at this point. So we're going to rule that out at this point as something that's going to limit our severe potential. But what we could see limit that potential is going to be the rain that we have ongoing at this point. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's look at what's going off to our west. And we do still have these tornado warnings, just a couple at this point. We have 3 tornado warnings, one moving over the Mississippi River right now, crossing over from Louisiana into Mississippi, one just south of Meridian, one just south of Columbus. And then these orange boxes here, these are all severe thunderstorm warnings. But these are kind of the 3 storms so far that we're watching carefully for the possibility of those tornado warnings to keep on going, keep extending. These have been fairly long-lived. The storms we've seen so far today have kind of maintained their strength as they've moved across Mississippi. But so far, as these storms have crossed into Alabama, they've shown a weakening trend. So we hope that that does continue as these storms keep moving across the border. That tornado watch that covers parts of Louisiana and Mississippi lasts through 2 a.m. So they're anticipating the possibility of severe weather ongoing all the way into the early morning hours tomorrow. And the storms that develop to our west head in our general direction. So we are just getting started in terms of that severe threat. We could see storms around over the next couple of hours. And of course, we're going to be here tracking those over the next few hours.
We are, and it's 7:32, and again, we're going to stay with this a little longer. If we don't have any tornado warnings for Alabama, we'll ultimately kind of stop here and come back as we need to. But at least we're not cutting off anybody's story here or something on television to make us mad. Boy, somebody sent me a nasty one here a minute ago, Taylor. It was one of these threats.
Uh-oh.
You ought to just spend like an hour in my inbox, all the social media and the email and everything. Yeah, don't you dare go on TV again until the Love Actually program is over at 8. I've never seen Love Actually. Have you?
No.
No. When you do weather, you don't have time to watch television. Don't you dare. So we will let them watch the Love Actually program. We'll hit the TV side at 8. But again, we just got this junk convection north of Birmingham, and in Birmingham. It's pouring in Birmingham now. Heavy rain is falling, and again, a lot of lightning and thunder here. Very prolific lightning producers within this sector, which is a pretty large sector here. That's 255 lightning strikes here in the past 10 minutes or so. So a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning. but we have no warnings anywhere in Alabama. We got some flood advisories for the heavy rain here, but no warnings, which is great. So let's go back to our storm that's approaching Columbus. That's the one of greatest interest. And again, we've got the Columbus Air Force Base radar, and it doesn't look especially organized here. And is that current? I guess it is. Yep, it is. So again, it looks like that thing's been in the same place for a long time to me. But
Are we having problems with Columbus radar? That would be my next question.
I'm seeing it good here, so maybe it's just kind of hanging in that same place down there.
It looks similar location from
Yeah.
BMX.
Yeah, so I think we're good. It's about to cross 45 west below Artesia, north of Crawford here.
Here's what we'll do.
And
We're going to
again, let's look at the reflectivity one more time.
I think it's just moving really slowly.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hugging the southern part of Lowndes County. Yeah, I guess the last time we noticed it was closer to here, so I guess it's moving along. But we'll put the reflectivity back on, and that doesn't look that impressive. I mean, if back in the days before we had velocity, you look at that and you're thinking, well, there's not much to it. That's why the beauty of Doppler radar, we can see the wind field within these thunderstorms and see many other things. The dual polarization radar upgrade was so much better than what we thought it would be. We weren't quite sure what to expect, but it was just excellent. So again, we've got a tornado warning in effect for Lowndes County in Mississippi. Let me hop over on the Jackson Weather Service chat. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs open, 7, with various Weather Service offices across the Deep South. And again, the tornado warning for this particular storm, and this is for parts of Lowndes, Oktibbeha, and Noxubee counties. I'm trying to see when that expires. It looks like 8:15, which is more than 30 minutes out. So again, we'll kind of keep an eye on that and see. But clearly, this is why we've got the tornado warning in effect here. But again, we're not seeing the TDS to go with it, the debris being lofted. So it's a radar indicated tornado. And there might be one there. Sometimes it takes a while for that debris to get lifted up to radar beam height level. And again, that's moving northeast. So again, everybody in Columbus needs to stay sheltered. Columbus is kind of in the northern part of this polygon here. But again, and they've just taken out Noxubee County. So now it's just Lowndes County right here. So a pretty decent chunk of Lowndes County, basically from Columbus south, US 82 south under a tornado warning. And again, that storm will be crossing over into Lamar or Pickens counties here. This is Pickens County. This is Lamar County. Millport here. Reform is down here. This is Coal Fire in Ethelsville. This is US 82. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, this is not anywhere near Starkville now. Starkville is here for those that have sons or daughters that are at MSU. How about the Egg Bowl? Now, that's a random thought. And I love the Ole Miss campus is beautiful, but you have to be true to your school, like the University of Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Go Bulldogs. Anyway, you can tell that we don't have a lot going on here. And the plan is this, Dennis and everybody in the back. If we do not have any tornado warnings, we're going to do the update on TV at 8. And then we'll stop the stream and give everybody a break, because we've got directors and audio people and production folks that probably could use a break, and I don't want to keep them all tied up when there's nothing going on here in terms of severity. So we're going to stay with this for another 23 minutes. We'll hit the television side at 8, and then we will kind of give a briefing, and then if everything is okay at that point, and if this thing in Columbus goes away, we'll end this stream, and we'll come back later if we need to. And again, we're not going anywhere. We'll be here through the night. But again, I know you just don't want to see us, yakking away when there's not that much going on here. So again, the tornado watch for West Alabama, the counties in yellow until 11. Walker, Fayette, Lamar, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Bibb, Green, Hale, Sumter, Perry, Sumter, Marengo, Dallas, and counties down to the south. And we should mention this is a flash flood watch, those counties in green. And yeah, let's go back to the day one and see if they've updated that on our graphics box here. And yeah, I think they have. This is the new one. If we can kind of zoom into this a little bit, you can see that this level 4 out of 5 is now just clipping a little bitty part of Pickens, Fayette, and Lamar counties over here. Earlier, it was really extended up and through here, but now that it's rain-cooled up here, they've taken that out. The enhanced risk is for a much smaller part of the state. This is areas just west of Birmingham down toward Demopolis. And for most of the state, we have a level 2 out of 5. There are 5 levels of risk if you're new here. Most of our tornadoes occur in this 2 and 3 zone, especially in 2. We have a lot of days with a level 2 out of 5 risk. So it's meaningful. Well, you see the yellow here, and most of the state is in a level 2 out of level 5. So just because you're not in these higher risks, level 4 and level 3 here, don't let your guard down. Just everybody needs to be weather aware tonight. Best possible case, the air stays fairly stable, we don't have any big problems, and we're good to go. But it is a very dynamic system in a very strongly sheared environment. And again, I've been through many of these systems in the cool season, the November, December, January, February segment of our tornado season, where things can happen that you don't really expect. I heard this when I was young, and it's so true. The great Al Mohler, I heard him speak. Al is a meteorologist, long time, Weather Service in Fort Worth, did a lot of Skywarn training, incredible knowledge of severe local convective storms. And every time Alan would speak, Al Mohler, typically the first thing he would say out of his mouth, when it comes to thunderstorms, expect the unexpected. And he's right. I've been doing this a long time, and I will verify that what he said and what he taught is true. That's pretty nasty down there below Meridian, Taylor, the reflectivity. That's a big old hail core. That's a very intense sign of hail. And this is no man's land. And, you know, this is into this thing, and we're not on television. We can talk about it. I mean, we got to get a radar installed here, and that's going to happen, I think. I think Ken Graham, the new director of the Weather Service, understands this problem because Ken used to be the meteorologist in charge in Birmingham. He's a good friend of mine, and he understands the radar hole we have down here. The radar beam at Meridian is about 10,000 feet off the ground. You have no idea what's happening close to the ground. You're looking at it from either Birmingham or Columbus or Jackson with this really, really broad beam, and it's way off the ground, and it's bad. And somebody's going to get hurt down here. We're going to have an undetected tornado in somewhere down here. York, Livingston, Linden, Butler, Alabama, and we've got to fix that. And I think the Weather Service, I think we could talk them into installing another one down here. We used to have one in Meridian at Key Field for a long, long time, an old WSR 74. And it is off the table. It was decommissioned, I want to say, in 1996. So maybe a little TDS, Taylor?
It looks
what
like.
What say you?
I think so. And National Weather Service in Jackson is thinking so. This is co-located with where we're seeing that velocity couplet. So that could be a small TDS tornado debris signature showing up just north of Crawford. So we'll keep watching this storm. It's been doing a lot of rotating. This would be the first indication that we see of debris being lofted from this. And sometimes it takes another radar scan or two. But based on the velocity signature, that would be where we would be looking for that debris signature. So this could be a tornado on the ground north of Crawford. This is that tornado that would be moving in the general direction of Columbus. And this has been moving fairly slowly. This is moving towards the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So that's slower than what you would drive on the highway. So we have some time to keep watching this. Best case scenario is that this weakens as it gets closer to Alabama. But if that doesn't happen, that would put this circulation moving into really extreme northwestern Pickens County and then moving into southern portions of Lamar County if this can hold together. It's moving through air that has been rained in, so that means that it's a little bit more stable. There we go. There's that. That's what you wait for. And that would be a clear sign that we now have a tornado on the ground. With that, you see how that that debris signature, we get those blues. That's showing, yes, there is a debris. There are items up in the atmosphere being lofted that are not raindrops. They are not hail. And so now, yes, we have a confirmed, radar confirmed tornado just north of Crawford, moving in the direction of Columbus, Mississippi. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to track this. It's moving northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And here are some of the approximate arrival times of that tornado, the tornadic circulations. That would be moving towards Columbus, moving into Columbus, about 8:04. So we'll keep watching this. We will see if this can hold together. This is kind of moving in a similar track. There's got to be some kind of boundaries right around here because it seems like
it's that instability gradient in there.
Yeah, these have been moving over some of the same tracks, it seems, over some of the same locations.
I'm watching the new volume scans coming off Columbus, and it looks still hanging in there, but it's not overly impressive. It didn't look what it looked, but we still got the TDS.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned, Taylor, a lot of times that TDS will hang in there for a few volume scans after a tornado is dissipated. That debris stays aloft for a while. So I'm not saying the tornado's dissipated here, but again, watch it right here. All right, boom. I mean, that's a very intense TDS, and then it's broadened out a little bit, and we'll just see if that goes away. But again, clearly everybody up here in Columbus, the campus of MUW, downtown Columbus, anybody with a Columbus mailing address, you need to be sheltered. The tornado warning in effect for Lowndes County, Mississippi. Let me just say, it's a little confusing sometimes when we do coverage for Mississippi because Alabama and Mississippi share some county names. Like Alabama's got a Lowndes County, which is near Montgomery. Up here we got Clay County, Mississippi. We've got a Clay County in East Alabama. So we have to make it perfectly clear this is Lowndes County, Mississippi, the one that Columbus is located in. And again, this is US 82 right here. The old Lee Mall sits about right here. Downtown Columbus is right there about the M. This is the state line, and that thing holds together. And a lot of us are thinking it probably won't make it to Alabama, but again, we will watch this carefully to see if that's the case. But if by chance it holds together, it might come up here toward either southern Lamar again, or maybe northern Pickens, somewhere in this zone right in through here. This is Vernon. This is Ethelsville right here. But let's pop the reflectivity. But is that the new volume scan, by the way, that just popped on?
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. It's there. And again, you can't ignore that. The reflectivity and the velocity look pretty puny, but when you see that, you think, okay, debris still being lofted, so you can't let your guard down. But again, I'm looking at the different displays of this storm, and it looks like the storm might be dissipating, but the debris aloft is still hanging in there, which sometimes happens. It takes a while for all of that to fall back down. And if you've ever been where debris is falling, it's horrible. It's horrifying.
Something interesting to note. John DeBlock from the National Weather Service is saying there's lots of leaves available. So although we could have maybe weaker circulations, there's a lot of those leaves on the ground, and that's an easy target to loft into the atmosphere.
That's a great point. So instead of looking at boards and bricks and glass and nails and parts of trees, you might be looking at leaves, which that's a really good point from John. John is the WCM at the Weather Service in Birmingham, morning coordination meteorologist. And also he works carefully with my friend Kevin Laws, who's the SOO down there, the Science Operations Officer. Interesting to note, the fire chief in Sumiton, this is in Walker County from an earlier storm, reporting some roof damage on several buildings on Main Street. And he's reporting that one roof was blown across the street. Now, this was an earlier storm. There was a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that storm. But that was earlier in Walker County. So again, this is coming from the fire chief in Sumiton reporting roof damage on several buildings on Main Street in Sumiton. Sumiton is east of Jasper, out around Dora. and reporting that a roof was blown across the street. So we'll have some of our crews check that out. And again, what we're going to do here at 8 o'clock at the top of the hour, we're going to join the TV side very briefly. And then we will end this live stream to give our production folks a break. And then we'll come back as needed. Yeah, and the weather folk too, yeah, we'll take a break. Go eat some of my carrots back there. Actually, we got a great cake today. The cake was just so good today. I was in 2 schools today, and the last stop was at Gwynn Elementary in Hoover. In fact, take WEX 05 real quick. We do a thing on Instagram called Song of the Night every night. And Dennis Martin, our director, he's got a cult following on that with his crazy website of the night, and we play a song, and this was great. That warmed my heart. So, yeah, we've got a good snack here in the building. All right, so back to radar. And again, thanks to Gwen. Thanks to my friends at Susan Moore up in Blount County. Had a great visit there today as well. So we've got a messy-looking storm that's south of Columbus that's showing a TDS, a tornado debris signature. This is a tornado warning for Lowndes County, Mississippi, and there's just really nothing there. I mean, I cannot imagine the Weather Service in Birmingham pulling the trigger for a tornado warning here, despite the fact that we've got that thing, which is there. And again, as John DeBlock points out, we do have a lot of leaves and some things that's it's foliage and it's not structural, that's being lofted. And that's a good thing. And elsewhere, it's just, again, this is junk convection here. Outflow dominated, nothing severe. Heavy rain, yes. Thunder and lightning, and you know, that's the thing. People often say, well, it's severe where I live. Well, remember, we have a very specific definition of severe, and that's 1-inch diameter hail or larger, or 58 mile per hour winds or greater. And nothing like that in any of this. They're noisy, it's pouring rain. It's a horrible night to be out, but again, no evidence of any tornado activity, no evidence of any damaging winds, and accordingly, there are no warnings for any part of Alabama. And we can celebrate that here. It's approaching 8 o'clock on a night that could be a lot busier than this, but again, the night is still young, and we've got more convection that'll be moving in from Mississippi, but it's kind of encouraging to see this big rain mass here. You want to see that. Again, that tends to stabilize things and kind of prevent storms from forming. But as we've talked about, down here south of Tuscaloosa, down toward Greensboro in Utah and Demopolis, that air has been untouched, and the dew points are way up in the 60s, and there's still a chance we could see a few tornadoes. In fact, let's look at that Meridian storm real quick, Taylor. I know it's a long way from the radar. We talked about the radar hole down there, but that thing is of great interest, and that is going to try to move over into Sumter County, probably a little south of Interstate 5920. This is Interstate 5920 here, and this is US 11 here. And the radar coverage, it's just, it's bad. It's crappy, excuse the expression. It's bad. The radar beam is probably 10,000 feet here. And so we really don't know. You look for what's happening at 10,000 feet, but you don't know what's happening down at the surface. But again, you look for reports. That's why spotters are so critical. Ground truth, what's happening underneath that thing. And the Weather Service in Birmingham will look at the reports coming out of Lauderdale County, Mississippi, and see if they need to do anything. I would certainly expect a severe thunderstorm warning because it's a pretty good hail shaft right there. But again, to get your bearings straight here, that's Interstate 5920 here. This is US 11 right here. University of West Alabama, Livingston here. This is York, and this is Cuba. This is US 80 going over toward the Rooster Bridge in Demopolis. In fact, that's the Rooster Bridge right there over the Tom Bigby. And Demopolis is over here. So we'll see. I guess, Taylor, I see no chat on that. And John DeBlock, and I agree, he says the cell south of Columbus has fallen apart and is not a concern. It's just, there's nothing there. And again, I think it's hit that rain-cool, stable air. And so if you're, let's go back up to the Lowndes County storm just to show what we're talking about. Technically, we've still got a tornado warning here, but there's just nothing. There's just nothing. There's no tornado here. We're good to go. So this warning will be off the board very soon. I know technically it runs until 8:15, but I expect that to be canceled pretty quickly by the Weather Service in Jackson, Mississippi. It's their county warning area there, and the Weather Service is not concerned at all about Lamar or Pickens from that storm that's fallen apart near Columbus. So the storm, again, near Columbus has fallen apart and is not a concern. So really, again, the only thing we've got is the one down there near Meridian that's approaching Sumter County. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that and see what they're going to do. And again, Taylor, I will say now, this is where it's a little more juicy, don't you think?
Yeah, that's where we do have a little bit more of those higher dew point temperatures. The air here is not as worked over as the air across really the northern third of Alabama. That's where we've had that ongoing heavy rain throughout the afternoon. So we're going to see this storm move into an area, and notice here we don't have good coverage of showers or thunderstorms. So there's a little bit more instability here. We'll have to see how the storm behaves as it does cross the border. It does look like it's going to be riding very close to I-20 as it does cross over the border. So we'll have to keep a close eye on it. A lot of lightning with this, and sometimes, you know, when we're really far away from these storms, that's kind of our best indication on whether or not the storm is maintaining its strength. And we've seen a good amount of lightning with this, so likely some hail with that. That's sometimes what that lightning means, and that lightning can also mean a strengthening storm as it does cross the border. So that's going to be the storm of main concern in our immediate future, as it does cross the border over into Sumter County here pretty soon. So we'll be watching that carefully. Love to see all of this rain filling in here. That's a good sign.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see that because, again, what that does, it's just, it cools the atmosphere and everything gets all outflow dominated, and it's a cold pool. And again, if you're north of Birmingham, I'd say the odds of, you know, severe weather are low. Not zero, but low. With this just big massive rain up and through here, just a big massive rain, cooled air, thunder, lightning, and this big band is slowly sagging southward, and that certainly is good news for the Birmingham Metro. But now we got a tornado warning for parts of Alabama, Taylor. Let's take a look at what the Weather Service has done here. This is out of Mobile, okay? This is an interesting jurisdiction thing here. So the Weather Service in Mobile has issued a tornado warning for the extreme northern part of Choctaw County. And this is in effect until 8:30. And this is just for a very small part of Choctaw County. The Weather Service in Birmingham, they don't buy into it. They don't really expect a tornado here, so you see nothing for Sumter. And occasionally things like this happen. You know, at some point you've got to have a changeover from one Weather Service office to the next. And sometimes they have a different philosophy. And I'm not saying anything's good or bad here, but I'm just saying in this case, this is a Weather Service jurisdiction deal. So a little bitty, skinny polygon for extreme northern Sumter County. This is way north of Butler. Butler's not involved in this. And again, this is Highway 17 right here. But again, if you're in the southern part of Sumter County, south of Interstate 5920, just watch that. We're going to stay with this for about 5 more minutes. At the top of the hour at 8, coming out of the top of the hour break, we're going to talk to our television viewers very quickly, and then we'll come back on the stream quickly. And if we have nothing going on here, we'll end this stream and come back later this evening as need be. But thanks everybody for watching. I've had notes from all over the country. For folks watching this, sorry it has not been an action-packed live segment, but we like that, Tay. We like it when there's no action-packed segment here. That's a good thing. But again, a tornado warning for extreme northern Choctaw until 8:30. And the Weather Service in Birmingham is watching it. But they see no reports, no surface-based truth out of this. But they're watching it very closely, but they're deciding to hold off on a warning. And the one thing, you know, let me just say, it's so easy to criticize somebody working a warning desk at a Weather Service office. However you want to criticize them, they live in a glass house. And, you know, the easiest thing to do is to issue a lot of warnings. Your false alarm ratio goes high, but at the same time, you might miss one. And that would, again, I'm not being critical of anybody here. It's just a different philosophy. So we'll keep an eye on this. And again, coming up in less than 2 minutes, we're going to join the television side. And Dennis, I assume the break does end at 8 on the TV side. Okay, right at 8. So we're going to talk with him quickly, and I don't want to cover up that program. Because that lady was mad at me, but she was mad. I mean, it's like, I can just visualize her face was red and veins were popping out on her neck and smoke was coming out her ears, and everything. I mean, but that was, that's right. If only you could hear what's going on in our ears. Dennis is watch Song of the Night on Instagram tonight, and you'll meet Dennis Martin. If we can do it tonight, I hope we can. So again, in about a minute 15, we're going to join the TV side and notice an aerial flood advisory for Blunt, Etowah, St. Clair. That's for this heavy rain that's falling up and through here. Just a lot of rain. Heavy rain moving into Gadsden here, down into St. Clair County. So again, a lot of these flood advisories for all this heavy rain that's falling north of Birmingham. But remember, down here, the air is still pretty unstable. So we got to watch Greene, Hale, Bibb, Perry, Chilton, all the counties down here pretty carefully overnight tonight.
Bill Castle is on his way. I think he's going to shift towards Demopolis, so hopefully he'll be able to maybe intercept.
Okay.
If there's something going on there.
Yeah, we'll see. And we do have our Skycam functional at Demopolis, and again, that's one of our HD Skycams, and we'll kind of point that thing toward the Sumter County side. The Skycam at Demopolis is up on the Civic Center there. So again, we're about 20 seconds out from joining the TV side, and again, we're going to brief them very quickly, and then we'll go back to regular programming, and we'll come back here and kind of wrap this up. So y'all just hang tight. We're going to join our friends that are watching ABC 3340 television in prime time. So here we go. It's 8 o'clock. I'm James Spann back in the Weather Center with Taylor Sorello. This is a very quick update. We have no tornado warnings for our part of the state. A lot of rain falling here. We have widespread rain, thunder, lightning, gusty winds, maybe some small hail from Birmingham north. No severe weather warnings. We do have a number of flood advisories. The one storm we're watching carefully is one that's moving out of Mississippi into west central Alabama. You can see this storm right here. This is moving into extreme southern Sumter and northern Choctaw counties. The Weather Service in Mobile has opted to issue a tornado warning for extreme northern Choctaw County. But the Weather Service in Birmingham has opted not to issue a warning for Sumter County. They've had no reports on that. So we're watching that. And again, we'll see. But if you're in York, Livingston, Demopolis, just be aware that a pretty strong storm will be approaching. And there's a pretty good chance there could be some hail in that storm, especially the part of it going through northern Choctaw. So again, the only tornado warning in the whole state, a very small part of northern Choctaw County in West Alabama, that is a tornado warning. And again, that is not in the television market here. So that's the current situation. So far, so good. We will be back at 9 o'clock, sooner if need be. I'm James Spann with Taylor Sorello, live in the ABC 3340 Weather Center. Maybe that didn't make him too angry. We'll find out, trust me. So before we go, Taylor, your thoughts on that Meridian situation?
Well, keep an eye on it. It's honestly, it's hard to know what's going on at the surface when we're looking so high up in the storm. But one positive note is that looking at the chat from the Jackson office, they haven't had any reports of any damage from this storm that would indicate there is a tornado on the ground. So as long as we're not getting, if we have a tornado on the ground, it's nighttime, so sometimes it'll take a few minutes longer, but pretty quickly we'll start getting damage reports, or emergency managers will start getting phone calls, things like that, that there is damage ongoing. So far, we haven't seen that, which is great news from that storm as it crosses over. But look at these latest radar scans. Remember, it was a big area of pink. We had lots of lightning. It's starting to kind of look like it's on a weakening trend, which would be great. That's exactly what we want to see. But we'll keep watching it carefully. For now, we do still have that very small tornado warning for parts of Choctaw County, a very small northern sliver of Choctaw County. National Weather Service in Birmingham is still opting not to extend that tornado warning for parts of Sumter County. But we'll keep a close eye on it. So far, trends are good as long as we're not getting those damage reports, and as long as nobody's calling saying that they've seen a tornado or had any kind of damage. It's safe to say that I at this point, don't believe that we have a tornado on the ground from that storm if we're not getting any damage reports from it.
Just got to give a shout out to Daryl watching us from Auckland, New Zealand. Wow. Some great email from all over the world. Thanks for watching. It's always fast. A lot of people that are weather weenies I do this when there's a tornado event in some other part of the United States. I'll watch it because I like to learn things. You can learn best practices from some really good meteorologists, and I'll sit down and watch it just because to me it's interesting, and a lot of people find this interesting. It's almost like a car chase thing in Los Angeles. You never know what's going to happen next. But again, we have been with you since 6:30 for 90 minutes, and we had the one tornado warning in Lamar County. Very strong indication of a tornado there, but it faded quick and it dissipated. Again, I've got nothing going on right now. We've just got a lot of rain here. Thunder, lightning, flood advisories, and the one tornado warning is down in southwest Alabama for a storm that seems to be weakening, that's coming into Sumter and Choctaw counties. This one right down here. And again, the Weather Service in Birmingham opting not to issue a warning for Sumter at this point. And I think that's the right call. And basically, we're kind of at a lull here. So we're going to stop the stream. And again, so here's the deal. Here's what the YouTubers do. Hey, ring the bell, subscribe, do whatever.
Yeah. Hit the bell and you'll be notified when we're live.
You'll get that notification when we're live. So see, we
need a recording of that.
YouTube hipster. So no, seriously, people say, how can I watch you on Roku or Apple TV or Fire Stick or Chromecast, all the, we call it over-the-top solutions. Really, for severe weather coverage, the best way of doing it, and breaking news, it's to watch our YouTube channel, ABC 3340's YouTube channel. And a lot of you are watching there. Some are watching on the Facebag side. And again, you could like or subscribe, whatever the word is now, for the YouTube pages. But it is very helpful. We want you watching on your phone. Because I understand, the tornado season is just starting here. Our tornado season here is November through May, okay? And so this won't be the first time or the last time this happens for the next 6 months. And we want you to be able to take that coverage with you in your hand into your safe place. And it's often more convenient to do that through YouTube or Facebook, since they've got the capacity and most people have those apps, and it's easy to do that. And if you want to watch it, through Apple TV or whatever. But let me just say one more thing. Don't forget, a lot of young people have no idea that local television is free, over the air. It doesn't cost a dime. And a little cheap antenna, and you can pick up all these local stations, and the quality is unmatched. And you get all the, some of it's not that good, some of it's great. I mean, ours that we own here, 21.2 is my favorite, Antenna TV. It's these old shows. I watched Green Acres on that thing the other day, and I was laughing so hard I was crying. But it doesn't cost anything. You don't need the internet. You don't need a satellite dish. You don't need anything. Just a little cheap antenna you can buy for under $5 at the dollar store, and stick it on your television, and you can watch us that way. But again, for the streaming, YouTube and Facebook, that's the best way of doing it. So we're going to wrap it up. Anything before we go, Taylor? Any?
Still not seeing any damage reports coming in from that
orange
storm. So looks
okay.
Good.
So let's wrap it up. This is going to end this live stream at 8:06 Central Time. We'll come back on the TV side at the top of the hour at 9, and we have a regularly scheduled newscast at 10 Central Time. And of course, if anything happens, we'll be right back. We're not going anywhere. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon. I'm James Spann with Taylor Sorello live in the ABC 3340 Weather Center.